Today, I'm going to draw Today we are going to draw an eye using the grid method. The first step you're going to want to do is to draw your grid. The grid I'm drawing today is a 2-inch by 4-inch grid, and it is in proportion to the actual photo that I am working from. I am working from a photo on my iPad, and that photo is 4 by 8 inches. I like to start off by measuring out where the pupil is located. I try to find just the edges where they would line up on the grid line and just mark them off and then connect the dots and try to form that circle. So when you start working on your drawing, you're going to want to start lightly, and you're going to use your grid to measure out exactly where those edges of the pupil and the edge of your eye and eyelid are going to be located. And you may mess up during this process, so it is important that you draw lightly. I was actually working on this, and I could tell I drew everything a little too small initially around the grid, and I had to go back in and erase it and tweak it. That's why it is so important that you draw lightly. And what I mean by lightly is not just the darkness of the line, but do not push down too hard, because if you push down really hard while you're drawing, you are going to press down on those little hairs of fibers of paper, and it's going to create an indentation, and you will not be able to erase that indentation. Probably like what I did in this drawing, but I did that intentionally, or at least I'm going to say it was intentional. The other thing you're going to want to do, and sometimes we do this and we exaggerate it a little too much, but you're going to want to mark off where the highlights are located. Because if you think about it, the lens of your eye, it's curving outward and it reflects light. And depending on the light source that you have, that little reflection on your eye is going to be different shapes. In my studio, I have circle spotlights, so therefore the highlights on my eye are circles. And there's actually 2 of them in the drawing today, one that you can easily see at the top and one down at the bottom. Try to avoid making dark lines around the highlights too, if you can. So the flex in your eye, and this is going to vary. So today I actually worked from my eye. This is actually a drawing of my own eye. That's why the eye actually has a kind of a very deep set to it, and I have kind of a small eyelid because my eyes are kind of deep set. And I guess kind of narrow. I actually had to open my eye up kind of wide for this photo. But when you're drawing the flex, you are just drawing these little abstract shapes in there. And it's going to be something you're going to want to take a little bit of time with. I always try to take a little bit of time with it. Other things to think about when drawing your eye is eyelashes. When I used to give the assignment to draw faces or draw portraits in my classes, one of the things I would always notice is that we want to draw eyelashes first because they're fun. You know, they're these fun curvy lines or straight lines depending on how you draw eyelashes, but they are actually curved. They're not straight up and down. If you draw straight up and down eyelash, it's going to look super scary. So you don't want like a spider crawling across your face or anything like that. So make sure you're drawing the curvature of the eyelashes, but it should be one of the last steps that you add in. You want to make sure that you have your base tone in. I've been working on this drawing now for about 30 minutes, and this is a point where I usually make a decision on how realistic I am going to go with this drawing. So what I could do actually is sharpen a couple of my erasers and pencils to get in really fine lines. Also erase the highlights on the skin and draw the different crevices in the skin around the eye. That will take a lot longer. Today though, I really just want us to focus on using the grid and practicing measuring. And maybe in the future we can focus on more realism with our drawings. But this does look like my eye. Well, to a certain extent, it kind of looks like my eye, a little cartoonish. Overall, I had fun doing this, and that's really the point of this, is to just keep practicing drawing and getting better at drawing, because really drawing it's a skill that we practice.